In our first story, the lack of security posts and an manned entry point on the Ghana-Togo-Burkina Faso border in the Upper East region is fueling criminal activities there. Even for manned stations, inadequate logistics, the challenge of efficient clamping down on criminals is also a problem. Aside smuggling, residents say armed robbery is rife and lack of collaboration among security officials makes it difficult tracking and arresting criminals. In our porous borders story for today, Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin travels through 5 border towns, investigating cross-border activities between Ghanaians and their counterparts in Togo and also Burkina Faso.
Criminals capitalize on this porous entry point to commit all manner of illegality. Robbery is becoming the most widespread as residents recount their experiences.
So where I am standing is Ghana, but if you move a bit, some few steps away from where I am standing, up there is Togo. And this is exactly where residents say most crimes have been committed for the past few days, and they are not happy about the situation here.
Yeah, the incident that happened here is that one of our brothers came from Togo. He went to see one of our relatives there, and he's coming back, and 2 armed robbers just attack him by the river here. When they just cross him, they remove the gun.
This is one of 2 approved entry points, Pulumankum in the Pusiga district. Officers here declined to speak on record, but they say multiple unapproved entry points and lack of logistics for security personnel here remain the biggest challenge. Only 1 patrol vehicle is available for patrols at the entry points on a daily basis. This is Kulungungu, another approved entry point in the district. Everything here is done perfectly for travelers and vehicle owners. These long trucks carrying onions from Niger have to undergo lots of documentation to be allowed to enter Ghana. Both customs and immigration officials must be alert, as they always make sure checks are done properly on travelers. But just some meters away is another unapproved entry point, providing access to many foreigners who either ride or walk.
So the building you see behind me, these buildings, are in Burkina Faso, and far away from my extreme left is the border over there, the Burkina border. And so what happens here is that people can walk in and out of Kulungungu without passing through the border over there.
Last month we experienced this, and we follow a thief who ran inside here, that we can't go after him because he has already crossed the border, and because there's no security here, he can't just pass there. He passed here and walked to Burkina.
There are many unapproved routes both Ghanaians and foreigners use to ply their trade, legal or otherwise. On June 24, 2019, 3 police officers from Togo entered Ghana to arrest a suspected fraudster at Congo in the Timpani district. The officers did not seek any clearance or even collaborate with their Ghanaian counterparts. Reliable sources say the Togolese used one of the unapproved routes to enter the country. Angry residents of Congo attacked the officers and seriously injured one of them and seized the weapon of the other. The Togolese officer was hospitalized, and it took the intervention of Ghanaian security personnel to restore calm. The situation at Mognori in the Boko municipality is not different. These residents are also alert due to proximity to where gunmen from Burkina Faso were spotted a few months ago. They say empowering security personnel to man this area is paramount. This river separates Ghana from Burkina Faso. Just like many porous entry points in the Burkina area, there's a lot of free trade here, and all one needs to do is to be able to cross the river. These young men have taken it upon themselves to monitor and report any suspected individual. They spend almost 6 hours monitoring while helping others with their luggage to cross the river. Isaka Salifu is one of them.
Anytime we spot a suspected criminal, we inform the immigration officers so that they would come and arrest him.
Idrisu Salifu is a Burkinabe but collaborates with the Ghanaian counterparts to report any suspected criminals. Salifu has been working closely with his Ghanaian friends since the news of gun attack in Burkina Faso. From Wedana, Pulmankum, Pulungugu, Bimpela, Mognori, and all other border entry points, both approved and unapproved, the spirit of West African integration comes to life. People walk across the borders to and from Ghana, Burkina Faso, and Togo. This can, however, be the Achilles heel of a region grappling with security concerns because criminals explore porous borders to commit crime. There are reported cases of armed robbery along the borders in the Boko area. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin for JoyNews.
Back here in Accra, pools of stagnant water, dirty, sticky and stinking mud are what motorists at Atadika in the Katamanso municipality have to deal with on their bumpy roads. In our Join Your Community features, MFA Tiamoeli reports beyond hitting and scratching their bumpers, many motorists never complete their trips due to frequent breakdowns.
The Ashaiman-Katamanso-Apollonia stretch is the only tarred road for communities along that route. These include Zainu, Atadika, Washington, New York, Switzerland, Kubekrum, and then Katamanso. Ideally, any trip between Ashaiman and Katamanso should last between 15 to 30 minutes. During rush hour, however, commuters can spend more than an hour to cross the 8-kilometer stretch. And for those who want to avoid the 8-kilometer bumper-to-bumper traffic, persons heading towards Tema and Accra are left with the burden of having to drive on the untarred potholes-ridden stretch, which goes through Community 22 Annex. Though a longer route compared with the main road, free flow of traffic is assured on the stretch. It is the reason motorists like this gentleman who work in Tema prefers it to the main road, but certainly not in its bumpy, rough, muddy and clayed state.
This is the road I use every day to work. I live around Washington and goes to work in Tema Regional Fire Office every day, meaning 5 times in a week. As you can see, every week I have to go to work, suffer and suffer whatever those things. Please, cleanliness, please. If you can do so, if you can appeal to the authorities to do something.
The community link roads are not any different. Taxis and many bus drivers bear the brunt. They direct their frustrations on the municipal assembly.
I load passengers from Atadika to Peaceland. Our roads are very bad. We increased the fare by 50 pesos. It used to be 2 cedis, 50 pesos. After every trip, we have to go to the workshop for maintenance. We are always buying spare parts. We plead with the Katamanso MC to pay attention to us. We are suffering. Our roads are bad. We pay our taxes. There are a lot of passengers at the station waiting for us, but the road is bad.
My sister, every day, one trip, one shop. Every day, one trip, one shop. So we are working for nothing. By the end of the day, you go home with empty hands. So we are appealing to them. We are human beings. Because you cannot be working for mechanic and spare part people.
An aerial shot shows these communities may have been well planned and demarcated. That notwithstanding, not a single street, link road or lane has seen bitumen or granite. Having lived in Atadeka for over 10 years, Christy and her neighbors say they can't bear it anymore because the poor state of roads in the community is affecting their livelihoods.
I'm Elikem. I live at Atadeka on this junction here leading to New York. I've been living here for 2 years now, and the road is not good, as you can see. If it rains, it comes to this side. Once in a while, they will use their grader to come and grade it, then that's all. Sometimes accidents have been occurring here. Drivers will be having issues with each other. They will be slapping because of the road. Sometimes the gutter itself is nothing to write home about. We are pleading with the government to see us, to come and look for us and do the road for us. We are begging him. We are dying.
In short time, school at the say Afoteagbo, another year MP, Yatu Abaman, 20 years, 18 years, a year.
When it rains, children can't go to school. The entire stretch becomes muddy. Afoteagbo is our MP. Vehicles break down here daily. They only grade the road during election years. The moment elections are over, we are forgotten. Women in labor deliver in vehicles because of the road. People die on their way to the hospital because of the bad road. We plead with Afoteagbo to fix our roads. I am in Atadeka. We can't work because of the road. We are losing big customers because of the road. The moment you mention Atadeka, customers shy away because of the road.
Big customers. Me shop in here, who catch your business, who Atadeka, I said the road is not good. I can't come with my car.
The rains are compounding the anguish of residents, but nature must have its way. The question, however, remains, what are the authorities and persons responsible for this area doing to alleviate the plight of residents? The Katamanso Municipal Assembly has some responses for JoyNews.
Moving on, the Municipal Chief Executive of Katamanso, Solomon Appiah, assures that work on some major links in the community will commence in August as soon as the rains are over.
We are in the rainy season. The places where you get the materials even to construct the roads, some of the trucks cannot go there for the winter. So we are giving ourselves up to August, and when the rains are done, they will see difference among the roads that is on our drawing board now. So I want my community members to know that little drop of water makes a mighty ocean. There are very small tokens that they pay on property rates, and then the building permits, and then the market tools, the lorry parks, and whatever has been designed. That is what government derives the money from. Be able to construct bridges, culverts, roads, etc. So at times they should be willing also to pay their quota for their development.
Away from all these, the Vice President of Liberia, Dr. Joel Hayward Taylor, is asking Africans to work hard to fight corruption and other vices on the continent. She believes minimizing and eradicating these vices would go a long way to erase the stereotypes about Africa. She spoke at a summit in Accra, organized by the Heritage and Cultural Society of Ghana to commemorate the Year of Return.
We can let it be known then that by the unmatched progress and advances achieved, Africa ceased to be known as a dark continent. That wars, famine, disease, hatred, poverty, inequality, corruption, and mismanagement no longer stunted our progress and development, but that we became instead the guiding light that brighten the consciousness of the world and change the course of humanity for the better. Yes, we can let it be known that in world affairs, Africa assumed her deserved and rightful place around the family table of the world.
Also at the event was daughter of Ghana's first president, Samuel Nkrumah, who believes Africans should leverage the successes chalked by its forebears to achieve economic independence.
It's also a year for us, Africans in the mother continent, to understand why we have to work together and think together with Africans all over the continent and all over the world. Lest we forget, it is the Pan-African movement, thoughts, principles that made our independence struggle quicker and faster. It gave it an impetus. And if the last century was the century of independence, this century for Africans must be the century for unity and economic independence.
And before we go, founder and president of the Worldwide Miracle Outreach, the Reverend Dr. Lawrence Tetteh, is calling on the clergy to collaborate with journalists in the discharge of their duties. The international evangelist believes this will also help foster unity and promote a freer media space. His comments come on the back of an alleged attack on a Daily Graphic reporter by some congregants of the Glorious Wave Church International at Sakumono.
We are supposed to work in collaboration. As a matter of fact, what is journalism? Transparency, dissemination of information, so we can all come to understanding of the fact that we need to be informed. When one does not respect journalism, he falls short of even what we call enlightenment. So the clergy, the journalists, and the news forecasters, we have to come together in a united front so we can inform our community. So for me, this place is a public place, the church is a public place, even your bedroom is a public place. Today, because of social media, everything is a public place. Do you know how many people are watching our phone now? As we speak today, you'll be surprised where somebody is hidden, spying on us and listening to us. So we need to guard our lives well. We need to live our life well. We need to do things right so that we will not be scared when somebody is unfolding, unveiling what we do in secret. And what I'll say is that what is not right is not right. It just doesn't have to be a journalist. You don't have the right to attack anybody. I don't have the right to attack you. You don't have the right to attack me. Nobody has the right to attack a pastor, and a pastor doesn't have the right to attack a journalist. We should live in a cohesive manner where we can understand and respect the rule of law. And so what is not right is not right. Whether it's a journalist or even a farmer or a taxi driver, nobody should take the law in their hands to attack anybody.
Well, that'll be it for the latest news headlines. We have more news. We'll review the stories on the front page of the dailies, and we'll look at myjoyonline.com possibly. Do stay with us.